It looked like it hadn't been touched in years, yet the neon vacancy sign flickered to life, as if it was expecting someone. Route 66. A road whispered about in ghost tales and desert legends. But to Liam and his two best friends, Emily and Mark, it was just a shortcut. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, painting the desert sky in deep orange and blood-red streaks. Their car, an old Mustang, groaned as it chugged along the cracked highway. They were tired, lost, and running dangerously low on gas. Then, as if out of nowhere, a glowing sign appeared in the distance. Desert View Motel, vacancy. It stood like a lonely sentinel in the middle of nowhere, its parking lot cracked with weeds, its windows covered in dust. The place looked like it belonged to another era, probably the 1950s. But when you're desperate and the nearest town is hours away, you don't question fate. They pulled in. Not another car in sight. Creepy, but it's either this or sleeping in the car, Mark said, stretching. Emily shivered. Something feels off. But Liam, tired and focused on survival, marched to the front desk. The office light flickered. A bell on the counter sat untouched, surrounded by a thick layer of dust. He rang it. Ding. Moments later, a man appeared, silently, like he had just melted out of the shadows. Thin, pale, and with eyes that never blinked. "You're our first guests in a long time," the man said with a cold smile. "Room 6 is ready. Check-in is free." They exchanged looks. "Free?" Liam asked. The man's grin widened. "You'll find everything you need." Despite their unease, they took the room key, an old-fashioned metal one, and wheeled their bags to room 6. The hallway was dimly lit, filled with the scent of old wood and something metallic. Inside, the room was surprisingly clean. Too clean. The beds were made, the lights worked, and an old radio played soft jazz in the background. But there were no mirrors. No television. No Wi-Fi. Just silence. That night, strange things began. Liam woke up first, sweating, hearing something like whispers through the wall. He pressed his ear to the peeling wallpaper. "They never leave. They never leave." The voice was faint. Childlike. He shook it off. Must be tired. But at breakfast, which was somehow freshly cooked and served in the dusty dining room, Mark looked pale. I saw something in the mirror above the sink." "There's no mirror," Emily replied. "There was last night. But not anymore. I saw myself. But older. Like dead." Liam's fork clattered onto the plate. The motel owner appeared again. "Everything all right?" They nodded. But as he turned, Emily saw something. His back. His clothes. They were rotting. As if he'd been buried. That night, they tried to leave. They packed up, jumped into the Mustang, and raced toward the exit. But the road looped. Every turn brought them back to the same sign. Desert View Motel, vacancy. They circled. Again. And again. The sky never changed. It was always dusk. Then the Mustang stopped. No more gas. Even though they had filled it earlier. "I think we're trapped," Emily whispered. A shadow loomed across the sand. It was the owner, standing at the edge of the parking lot, watching them. The room that remembers. They decided to investigate. If they couldn't leave, maybe they could figure out why. What was this place? They split up. Liam explored the back of the motel. There he found old, dusty guest books, with entries dated all the way back to 1962. Dozens of names, all crossed out. Except the last one. A girl named Sarah. Dated October 13th, 1977. The message next to her name? "He watches. Don't sleep in room 6. His blood turned cold. They were in room 6. Back at the room, Emily discovered something strange under her mattress. An old photograph of a family, smiling in front of the same motel. But when she turned it over, words were scratched into the back. "We checked in. He wouldn't let us leave. We are still here." Meanwhile, Mark was in the bathroom when the light flickered, and the mirror returned. Only now, his reflection moved, even when he stood still. Then the reflection smiled. But Mark didn't. Screaming, he punched the mirror, shattering it, but the shards bled. That night, Emily had a dream, a vivid, horrifying vision. She was being buried in the desert behind the motel owner standing over her, whispering, "You belong to me now." She woke up gasping, to find sand pouring from the ceiling. That's when the truth hit them. The motel was a trap. A cage. A memory loop. They found an old journal in the office, hidden behind a wall panel. It belonged to the original owner, a man named Harold Finch. It told the story of a failed motel on Route 66, of guests disappearing, of deals made with things beneath the sand. He had promised to feed it, to give it souls. In return, he would live forever. But not alive. Not dead. Just stuck. "Maybe if we burn the place," Liam suggested, "we can break the curse." They gathered gasoline from the generator shed, splashed it over the floors, the furniture, the beds, the office. The motel groaned, like it knew. Then they lit the match. Flames engulfed the Desert View Motel. The walls screamed. The air turned black. And shadows, hundreds, emerged from the rooms, screaming silently, reaching, begging to be freed. Then, silence. And dawn. For the first time, the sun rose. They turned to see the road stretch ahead, real this time. They ran to the car. It started. They didn't speak until they were miles away. In the rearview mirror, smoke still rose from where the motel once stood. Or so they thought. Because as they stopped at a diner hours later and turned on the TV, a news alert was showing. Strange fire destroys abandoned motel on Route 66. Site had been empty since 1978. Liam dropped his coffee. "Wait, what? Empty?" Emily said. "We were just there. He was there." Then the camera showed something else, a photo of the motel. But in the window of room 6, 3 figures. Their faces. Watching. Smiling. Still there. Forever.